on board Planola. Mark Reynolds of real estate firm Savills is acting as receiver to the site and joins us now in studio. You're very welcome, Mark.
Morning.
Can you just explain firstly, before we get into the components of what will happen on the Boland site, what exactly is your role as receiver to this whole process?
I'm acting in capacity as a fixed charge receiver over the property, and over the last 2 years we've been managing a process to secure planning permission to enhance the value of the asset.
That's because the original development, I think it was Benton Developments.
That's right, Benton
Sean
Properties
Kelly.
and another company were involved in trying to get planning permission on the site over the last probably 5 to 6 years. And unfortunately it went into receivership. I was appointed as receiver, and basically we've engaged with Dublin City Council on their SDZ to secure planning permission on the property, which we've done yesterday.
Explain that SDZ process firstly. What benefits does that bring in terms of developing a site like Bolands?
The SDZ basically is where the Dublin City Council issued a very detailed plan in terms of how they wanted to see the lands and the South Docks developed. I applied for planning permission in December of last year, and within 6 months I have secured a granted planning permission, and that's a real sign of the SDZ is working. I have to say I would have found Dublin City Council have been very proactive and very positive towards the plan. So to be able to deliver a planning permission within 6 months on such a large scheme, I think it clearly shows that the SDZ is working.
And also the SDZ process, basically once the City Council, the local authority, is happy with your plans, it can't then be appealed to on board Planola.
Exactly.
So you can start developing immediately now.
Well, pretty much we'll start on site. I've hoarding actually been commenced to be constructed on the site this morning. We've signed an enabling works contract for about 10 million to start enabling works on the site, and also to start demolishing the large concrete silos that are on the site.
Now, a lot of people will know, people who live in Dublin will know where the Bolands Mill site, obviously very historic residence because of the 1916 battle that took place there, but it's basically on the main road out from the city through Pearse Street on towards Sandymount and Ringsend, on the Grand Canal docks, very close to Silicon Docks where Google and other multinationals are based. Right. How big is the site and what are we going to see there? Basically
the site is just over 2 acres. The grant planning permission that's there now is for 3 new iconic buildings. 2 of the taller buildings are going to be office accommodation, and we also have a third block that's going to comprise about 30 apartments. But there's also 5 various protected mill buildings on site, and again there's a lot of work to bring those back to life, to restore those buildings, and again that's part of the first stage of the enabling works. Also we have a new civic plaza that's going to front out onto Grand Canal. We have other public spaces, new streets, etc. So it's quite exciting. And then there's quite a lot amount of retail space, cultural space, etc. that will comprise the overall scheme.
Now, the 5 historic mills, they're big 19th century, a lot of them are stone-cut buildings.
They're really nice stone-cut buildings. A lot of the original features are there, but a huge amount of work to actually bring those buildings back to life. They're in quite poor condition at the moment.
And they're derelict, are they?
They are pretty much derelict at the moment, yeah. And then what everybody knows is the large concrete silos that were built in the 60s in the middle of the site. And again, the process to demolish those will commence over the next couple of weeks.
Now, who's actually going to fund this development? We're talking about 150 million euro in total. Yeah. And what's the actual process? Do you actually conduct a tender process now for the developers to come in and make pitches to you as to how they would do it?
Yeah. So over the last 2 years, we've obviously been NAMA has funded the process by which to go and secure planning permission. I suppose until we've a granted planning permission, we now have something to talk about. So we'll engage in a meaningful way with occupiers. So we have various retail office occupiers that have been inquiring about the scheme, etc. So now we have a live project to talk to them about. Obviously we're about to commence on site with this enabling works, and there's a spend of about 10 million on that as well. So we're starting on site. Yeah.
But effectively, I suppose NAMA won't necessarily want me to say that they're effectively the new Dublin Docklands Development Authority. No. But effectively, once they're happy with the tendering process that you put in place, they will effectively fund this, will they?
Well, basically, I over the coming weeks, I'll be putting proposals to NAM in terms of what I think are the best options to enhance the asset, and one of those will be constructing out the scheme. Basically, any construction process absolutely would involve a tendering process where you go and secure quotes from various construction contractors to secure somebody.
Now, you talk about existing applications or expressions of interest to get in there. These buildings, apart from their aesthetic attraction down on the Grand Canal docks, are very close to the existing so-called Silicon Docks quarter. Do you know, or are you expecting significant interest, say, from other multinational, particularly high-tech companies to move in there?
We're at a time within the marketplace that the office occupiers are screaming out for space with some of the lowest vacancy rates that we've ever seen. We've already got a number of large inquiries, both from the IT, from the financial, from the legal profession, basically looking for space within the scheme. So we are in a lucky position that we have quite a number of occupiers to talk to at the moment. So.
And you could be talking about somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 office jobs there.
At least. And then you've obviously got the other jobs associated with the retail elements, the cultural elements, etc. And obviously we have over 32 apartments within the scheme as well. So there's a nice mix.
And how long will this, demolition is going to start immediately? People will see activity on the site almost immediately. But how long will it take to actually construct the whole project?
The construction programme we've drawn up will be in excess of 2 years.
Mark Reynolds of Savills, thanks indeed for joining us. Coming up, the prospects for October's budget on the back of very positive